see how long it takes. And I wonder, should I check inside of Facebook to see that we're streaming, or?
Let me see. I'll see if I can see us. It says we're live, but let me see if we're in.
Let me go check the event page. I don't know.
It says, okay, there you go. I see your event. It says it's starting soon. So let's see.
Your live video starts in 3 minutes, 2 minutes ago.
Well, I don't see us in Women Helping Women. Let's see here.
We're under, well, the event is there for sure.
Yeah, the event's there. I see the event.
And it should, I think the video streams into the event page.
Mm. Hold on, let me go over to your... Okay, we are live on your personal profile.
We're live on my personal profile. Okay, well, that's one. We're probably also live in my group, my book marketing and authors group. You're still here, right?
No. Yes.
Okay. I don't know where the camera went.
Oh, yeah. I did that the other day.
Closing tabs. We're having trouble streaming to your destination. So, yeah. It's not streaming live into Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, unfortunately. I guess we'll just stream live into my group and onto my personal profile, and I'll come back and talk to everyone in Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs later. So thank you. Let me just get rid of some of these things. Welcome everyone who's watching. I'm super excited to be here today, introducing and interviewing for my very first time, Adriana Monique Alvarez of AMA Publishing. And I'm super excited because Adriana is doing so many amazing things, not just in publishing. And I've been publishing books for a long time for authors, and there are very, very few people that I actually see driving new results and really turning the page on book authors and really turning the page on what the story is about in publishing and self-publishing. So I'm really, really excited to welcome Adriana here today live into my stream. And thank you everyone who's watching. Welcome, Adriana.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
So today we're going to be talking about storytelling and how it is that you're changing things for business owners, really for women business owners. I know for myself, like I had a long corporate career before I became self-employed, before I got into social media and became a publisher. When I was a corporate person, of course, I wanted more exposure. I wanted more authority in my career. I wanted my side hustle to be able to get some exposure as well and do some things for me in my life. But I had I was taught, I think, a really strong lesson to keep my personal life and my business life, my universe is completely separate. And I was so good at it.
Right.
I mean, I love my career. I loved working. It was almost like my job took over my whole life. And I didn't have much of a personal life to talk about at work anyways. But that was the biggest thing that I had to overcome. And I think it's probably a big thing that sticks in a lot of people's heads is, why would I even want to become a book author? Why do I would never expose myself to the world at large. And isn't that just unprofessional?
Right.
So why don't we start there? Is it not unprofessional to tell really, really personal stories that maybe you've never told before?
Yes. And as you were talking, the first thing that came to my mind is it really starts with what we believe about the world in general. Is the world a safe place for me to share who I am? That's actually where it all starts, even before we get to the personal, professional, is this good for my career? Is this good for my business? Is the world a safe place, or is it not? And we all live on the same planet, and some people wake up every day and go through their life like the world is not safe. Like the person that's straight, don't talk to strangers. Somebody could get you, right? I never teach my kids don't talk to strangers. I tell them to speak to everyone that you see, right?
To everybody.
So it starts there, but then when it gets to our career, it absolutely does. And this whole thing of, I think a lot of women have a fear about being unprofessional, not being taken seriously, because we feel the undercurrent, right? I remember when my friend got promoted to this position of regional manager, and then she found out that she was making $75,000 less than a man who had the same position in the same company. And so we understand that there's things that we're working with and we don't want to have any marks against us. And so we go into this very professional mode and we begin to think everything, the way we comb our hair, what we wear, what we speak, what we share is going to be used against us. And so when I came online, what I realized is this whole, there's the personal profile and there's the business profile. And once again, there was this dichotomy of, oh, okay, you post certain things over here and you post certain things over there. And that's how we started. I mean, one of our very first services is we created Facebook business pages for our clients and we posted every day for them. And when I saw that most people were posting more consistently and more regularly on the business page, but they just couldn't quite connect with their audience and they couldn't quite get them to pull out that credit card, I started teaching my clients, post everything on your personal page. And that makes people very uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. Because, we have our aunt on our personal page and our best friend from the 4th grade and who we went to college with. But this is the thing, is if we continuously dissect and have slivers and segments of who we are, then what we are agreeing with and what we are participating in is that if you knew all of me and I gave you all of me, you wouldn't like it. You would reject it. It wouldn't be good enough. It wouldn't be appropriate. And for me, I made the decision that I didn't want to do business in that way. I wanted my clients to understand that my son is going to walk in that door 3 times during this interview, that Derek's outside planting trees, that we're going to go to the river after this, right? I want them to understand who I am as a person. And if they want to get on board with that, then we're going to have a lot of fun doing business together. And if they don't want to get on board with that, if that makes them uncomfortable, if my son walking in then makes me less of a professional, less good at what I do, less capable, then we probably shouldn't work together because he's not going to stop doing that. And I'm not going to get stressed out and chew my kids out about walking in my office. So what we have to decide is business just one, am I willing to compartmentalize my life, or do I want to live fully and allow people to take it or leave it?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you feel like it's scary to to really expose yourself. But as I'm learning over the years and learning about myself through these experiences, it's one of those things, like, you grow your confidence through the practice of unlearning what is not safe and what is right. And I'm recognizing how much patriarchy there is that I have to unlearn in how I walk through life. How much I wait to be asked for my story instead of telling it. Yeah. How much I wait to be asked for what I'm working on instead of showing people, here's what you can participate in. So it's one of those things. And how do you come from, how do you package that up for people. So what's the next step? So people say, okay, I'm ready to expose it all and see what happens.
Yes.
How do I do that? And where do they start?
You know, I like to start simple, and I like to make it super practical. So it's literally, I was talking to a client the other day, and she reminded me that 5 years ago, I ran this entire group, and I said, we're all going to wake up every morning before we get out of bed, before you have the cup of coffee, before you get the kids to school, before you do anything, you're going to ask one simple question: what is mine to share? And as soon as it comes to you, it might be 4 seconds after you ask it. It might be 3 hours later. It might be when you're in the shower, in traffic, whatever. As soon as you get it, you're going to write it down, and you're going to find a platform, find a method, and you're going to share it. No delay, not in 2 days, not in 4 weeks, but boom, right? And what we practice this together, and this is what I've done for 5 years, is I wake up every morning and ask, what is mine to share? And then immediately shorten the lag time, shorten the time that we get to question ourselves and doubt it and beat that thing to death, right? No going and telling your friend who you know is going to shoot it down and tell you that's a bad idea, moving into it. And people, this is the first big thing that people ask me. Well, how many words does it need to be? And do I need a picture? And do I need a video or written? And I go, drop all of that. Because you can't really be in this creative, intuitive flow when there's so many shoulds and so many rules to follow. There is no word count. Your story today might be 170 words, and tomorrow it might be 14, and the next day it might be 1,000. Well, should I post it? When's the best time to post it on social media? The morning, the afternoon, the night? No, as soon as you get it, you share it. We're not going to mess with algorithms and all these things, right? We're not going to try to trick the system. Oh, well, should I do this, that, and the other? No. It's like you said, you know, many of us have been trained through certain things. And what I tell people, and I honestly believe this, people don't come to me often for the things that they think they're coming to me for certain programs. They're coming to me because I was never trained by higher education. I was never trained by corporate. I've never spent a day in those worlds. So I never had someone saying, well, you share your idea when we ask you. I share my idea whenever I freaking want, right? I share my idea with everyone who has 2 ears. And so it's almost like why people come and work with me and why they stand next to me is because they want to go back into that more wild place, that more childlike toddler place where we're not waiting for people's permission. We're not waiting for people to tell us we're good enough. We're just literally constantly in this place of, I have a good idea. I know what I want to do. This feels good. And acting on it in this instinctive, almost like an animal instinct level that has been trained and beat out of us.
Yeah. Yeah. With no delay, it's, you have the thought and the action happens instantly.
Instantly.
Wow. Yeah, that honestly, that is something I have to work on myself. I mean, the voice in my head goes constantly. So,
and that's what happens, right? We get this great. And I was on a summit a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "This is what happens. We all get good ideas. We really do. We get inspired ideas. We get these great ideas, but typically." We have a process, and the problem is most of us don't know we have a process. So the process is we go in and we question it. Oh, but what about that? And what about the other thing? And what if somebody else has already done it? And what if so-and-so thinks this? And then we have a built-in thing. We have a couple people in our life that we know will tell us that's a bad idea. And so we'll actually share it with them. We'll ask for their input on purpose so that they can, you know, we doubt it to death.
So we have a cop out.
And then they just bury it for us. And we're like, oh, see, she said it wouldn't be like, that's going to make me look stupid. And instead, we also all have people who think everything that we do is amazing. They think we walk on water, right? Yeah. So we could also ask those people, right? And so we have to just first recognize, what is my pattern? What's my process? And then can I integrate new things. Maybe I can drop that. Maybe there's trade outs. I like to do trades. It's really hard to just completely drop things. But if you can do a trade, you know what? Instead of me doubting this idea and second guessing it and thinking of all the reasons why it won't work for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to get you know me, I'm a real fan of index cards. I'm going to get an index card and I'm going to write down 3 reasons why this would work.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to sit with this for 3 weeks, right? So we can't change behavior. We probably aren't going to just like go from one extreme to the other. But if we can begin to make incremental changes and shifts, it goes a long way.
And I really like what you said about writing it down, like recognizing what your own pattern is, because it's not always I think some of my patterns, some of my habits comes from my corporate experience, which as a media buyer for ad agencies given $10 million budgets by clients, we have to make distinctions. I have to eliminate options. I have to be able to come up with an idea or have an idea presented to me and be able to shoot it down without too much, either without too much delay, or I need to be able to take the time to listen to my gut. For my gut to just never really, you know what, if it never turns right side up in my stomach, I can't ever go forward with it. Even if it keeps on bouncing around in my head, I'm like, I just, when it turns around in my stomach, it flips over and I'm like, oh, now. And then when I release it to the world, it explodes.
Yes.
But I feel like I'm not so much in control of when it flips over, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes.
So do you think that possibly participating, finding a platform where you can tell a story, tell a main story from your life, might help that?
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm not one of those people that's everywhere. You know, the other day, I was going to participate in something and they said, what's your Twitter? What's your Instagram? What's your, like everything under the sun, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I just need you to know right off the bat, I don't do that game. And they kind of, well, you could see their wheels turning like, well, that's kind of a requirement for our such and such event, right? And I said, no, I don't. Because what I found is for me, I need to have a focused platform. So I focus 99% of my energy onto Facebook, and I'll hop over to LinkedIn every now and then, and I'll do like a highlight story, or I'll do private messages. And that works for me. And the key is everyone has to find what works for them. And so this is what I tell myself, is I am incredibly blessed that I have access to at my fingertips a platform that I don't have to, I have access. I have the ability to publish something every day. Could you imagine? I mean, before you had to get the approval and get the this and the that and the other. So if I'm really passionate about telling stories and I'm really passionate about making the world a better place, then why can I not publish something every single day in bite-sized chunks? And so that's what I tell myself. I have the opportunity to publish every single day. It doesn't have to be a book at the end of a year. So what is mine to share? And how many people am I willing to be a blessing to? Am I willing to be that channel and that voice and access and utilize the tools that are right in front of me? If I'm on board with all of that, then people can move toward me. People can find me easily. People can introduce me, make connections, invite me, right? And everything starts to click. And all those things that we really, really want, that we dream of, they begin to happen, but it all starts with us.
Yeah, it's so much more about connecting with people in the right way and the right people than it is about your offer or your hustle. Yeah. And all the amazing things that have ever happened to me, usually because I've connected to authors, book authors, even as a reader, all the amazing things that happened to me because I connected to book authors are, it's really just about connecting to them, the person, and
It is.
telling them how they've impacted you.
Well, and here's the thing. If we look underneath this, why is it that people really respond to stories, and why are they more comfortable working with us in our business once they've heard that? Because here's the thing, they actually know who they're dealing with. It doesn't feel scary. It's not like, okay, I'm just pulling out my credit card for this one thing. I already feel like I know you. Literally, I took a little time off of social media this weekend. I threw a birthday party for my friend's daughter yesterday. And I came on because I was trying to find your link. And I had a private message from a lady. And I will tell you, I have had 2 interactions with her. And the rest of it, she just absorbed through all my stories. And I received a message this morning that said, I would like to pay a deposit on this kind of project. Can I do that today?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what she said next. I know, based on what I've read from your profile, that I'm in good hands. She doesn't know the details. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know how many calls or the this or the that's. But because of what she's read, she knows I'm the kind of person she wants to do business with. And she literally said, we'll sort out the details later, but I'd like to make a deposit today.
Yeah. Yeah, that really is the kind of connection in business that goes somewhere. Like you can connect with so many people, and if they don't know who you are, it doesn't matter, even if they actively are looking for and need to buy whatever it is that you're selling. If they don't know you, there's a really good likelihood they're not even going to be open to anything that you have to say or sell them. Just because you have it and they need it doesn't mean they're going to buy it from you. The likelihood is they know somebody else better.
Yes.
Who probably doesn't even sell what you're selling and like won't even serve them as well. What they have to offer isn't even as good of a fit, but they're going to buy it from the person that they know, like, and trust.
It's the truth. Having your offers and filling needs, it's not enough anymore. We have to be willing to connect at a deeper level.
You know, what really just hit me is that in 13 years of buying media and spending $375 million with media representatives and sponsorships and things like that, there were so many sales reps who reached out to me with offers and wanting me to buy their media channel that I just never had the time for. Mm. I never had the time to talk to them. And then the other sales reps who I pick up the phone and send them $250,000 without even talking to them because I know them, because I know what they have to offer, because and the budget arrived, and that, I guess a lot of it is like pre-selling.
Yes, it is.
Right? Because you don't even have to, this woman who reached out to you for a deposit, she's pre-sold.
Yes.
You have a pre-sold her. You don't need to sell her. All you need to do is negotiate and agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is the next step for people if they really want to move towards more visibility in their life, in their business, in their relationships, having people starting to look at them in a whole new way, a whole new light, even if it's a personal relationship? Mm-hmm. I bet your personal friends, your family members will change when you start to talk about your stories. They're going to change how they see you. What's the next step for people? How do they get more into this process with you, this opportunity to share their story really on a bigger platform?
Well, I I'm always creating opportunities for people to come hang out and spend time, because I actually think we learn most things by osmosis and by being in the presence of. That's why apprenticeships are so powerful. This is why that sort of old style of teaching and learning and passing down information and experience is so good. And so, one of the things that I decided to do was to create a masterclass where we're all together, not even on this type of platform, but like on Zoom, where there can actually be interaction. And we can talk about, what does it take to be willing to tell your story? Who do you have to be first? What do you have to let go of, right? Because there's fears and there's past things that we have to release. And then what are the three main ways that I want to show you how this story can bring about amazing results? So the three things that I'm going to be teaching on this week is, number one, how your story can actually lead to people moving toward you, where you're not feeling like you have to explain and convince and, oh no, really, I am good at what I do, but where they are moving towards you saying, I want to work with you. And looking at, how does that happen? Because for most people, it's this big, but how does that happen? Connecting those dots. The other one is looking at, when you're willing to tell your story, how that opens up doors and how you get into amazing networks. This happened to me last week. Last Thursday, I was invited to a networking event that happened on Friday morning. And I jumped on it. And that whole connection happened because I had told a story. And it wasn't even about business. It was about living here. And she also lives on a farm. And she was like, oh, you have to be in the front of this group of people. Well, when I got in front of the group of people, they were all 7, 8-figure business owners. And they all are perfect for so many things I do. But I landed in that room by telling a story about planting trees. Yeah. So how do our stories lead to high-level networks, being in circles where things happen, doors open? And then number 3, how does telling our story lead to getting ongoing media attention? Because what we figure out is that there's always a wider reach. There's always more people that could hear this and could benefit. And once you're in the place of shifting from self-conscious to service, who else can my story and my life and my experience bless? Then it can go extremely far reaching. And so that's what we're going to discuss this week.
I love that. It says so much to me about where I'm going as a publisher and working with authors. It is so much about finding new audiences and really finding the audience that is there to embrace and absorb and love your content like no other audience you've ever put it in front of before ever has. It's not just the one book, or it's not just the next book that you've got coming. It's the story that you told before, and where are those new audiences? And they're everywhere. And I think that there's, like, as a media person myself, with, there's millions of media channels talking about various topics. There's something, it's almost like media channels are species or animals, and books are just another one.
Yes.
And it's like they rely on each other in the ecosystem. Books and authors, media channels rely on books and authors constantly to provide them with the stories that they're going to tell. Where would media channels get the stories if they didn't have books and authors?
Exactly. And they already know that you've organized your thoughts, that you recognize you have something, valuable and meaningful to share. So it's a great match.
Excellent. So you have a masterclass coming up this week.
Yes, it's happening.
Tell everyone about it, please.
It's happening on Wednesday, the 21st. Let's see if I can get all my dates and times right. So it's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And that's 10 p.m. in the UK, and it's the following morning, 7 a.m. in Sydney. And all you need to do is, Debbie can get you the link, click there to register. Like I said, we're going to be looking at what what does this look like? What does it take? Because it feels like to me that the people who are willing to step up to being the storytellers, they're going to not only have a huge amount of influence, but they're going to be given many gifts in this time. And that's what I'm here to ask is, are you willing to be a storyteller? Are you willing to contribute at this time to our generation?
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm super excited myself to looking forward to attending and hearing everything that you have to share. Thank you so much for being here with me today, this afternoon. And thank you everybody for watching. I will be sure to put the link into the comments on the videos. This is also on YouTube, so I'll drop it there. And you can reach out to me if you have any questions about your books and finding more new audiences, going beyond just basic reach with your book, beyond just publishing, and really going further. And if Adriana has said anything today that really connected with you and really inspired you, please reach out to her, connect with her on Facebook. She's a wealth of knowledge and support. And I swear, I have never felt as supported in my self-employment journey as I have since I've been working with Adriana. So I open everyone up to that recommendation and my most honest referral. Thank you very much, Adriana, for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you.